morning. Unless you're a Lions or a Ravens fan. But it is time to skip the BS. It's time for Undisputed. It's time for Keyshawn Johnson and Richard Sherman and Michael Irvin and I to talk about two championship games in which the home team stunk in the first half, snapped out of it in the second half. The difference was, of course, the Ravens were trying to come back on the Chiefs, who featured Patrick Mahomes to Travis Kelce in the NFL's second-best defense, while the 49ers were able to score 27 straight second-half points on the Lions, who ranked 23rd in points allowed and who hadn't won a playoff game in 32 years and a road playoff game in 67 years. So congrats to the Chiefs, congrats to the Niners, and congrats to Richard Sherman for correctly predicting that matchup. A rematch of a Super Bowl Richard played in 4 years ago in Miami when his Niners lost to the Chiefs. Much more on that game a little later in the show. But let's start with yesterday's first game. Chiefs 17, Ravens 10 in Baltimore. A devastating loss for two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Richard, you called it. Did it play out exactly as you expected?
No, I cannot say it played out exactly as I expected, Skip. But it did play out how I expected to a degree. Both defenses played really well. Both offenses had moments. You know, you saw early on Lamar Jackson to Zay Flowers on the scramble action. You expected Lamar to make some plays with his legs. He did, converted a crucial 4th and 1 in that first half. Made some huge plays. That 4th and 1 could have been a touchdown. I mean, he had a chance once he got out of there to score.
I was actually surprised he didn't break away.
Right, me too.
Didn't you think maybe he was gone? Whew.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about the National Football League, and defenders aren't just letting you get away.
No. I understand.
You got some corners out there running.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
But they played really well. But you know what I said? I've told people to temper expectations. I was sitting there in one of these forums, these open forums with Baltimore fans and Chiefs fans, and Baltimore fans were saying they expected it to be a double-digit blowout win.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, this is probably going to be easy. They don't stop the run well. We run the ball well. And I said, hold your horses. Usually with Kansas City, you're talking about a middle-of-the-road defense for, kind of fringe top 10. Not this year. This year, they're top 3 defense. They're 2 in scoring. Spags has been calling an unbelievable game, especially as of recently. He's been doing a phenomenal job, and Chris Jones in those playoffs is a menace, and he wasn't the only one. Menahu had a huge strip sack of Lamar Jackson, and I was worried about Lamar Jackson holding the ball potentially too long. He did it in the Houston game, but against a young Houston team, you can get away with that. You can get away with some mistakes and make up for it, but with a veteran championship Super Bowl champion team, you're not going to get away with that, and he didn't. And that's what I expected. I expected Patrick Mahomes to show up in a big way. He definitely did in the first half.
In the first half, he did.
Right. And, I looked at this game, and I thought it was a case on both sides where your greatest asset became your greatest liability. Lamar Jackson's greatest asset all year as he sat in the pocket. Man, he looked great sitting in the pocket. It became his greatest liability. I thought he should have had 150 yards rushing yesterday, and I'm talking about on the low end. If he just gets out, when they kept closing that pocket in on Lamar, he just waited and waited. Now, I lauded praise upon him when he did this in the regular season, but not now. Here, you don't do this. Let me tell you why. I believe in a regular season, we play the possession. You play a series at a time. You play the possession. People even start out with the top 15 because that's a possession, top 15 plays. But when you get to the playoffs and you get to a championship game, you got to play each play. You got to play each play. And I thought in the Baltimore Ravens games, there were times where I can easily run and get this first down, but we made it harder on ourselves, or they made it hard on themselves trying to make certain plays, throwing the ball right here, right now. And I used to get mad at Donovan McNabb about this a little while ago when he was playing. Like, I want you to be able to sit in the pocket. But if Tom Brady and Peyton Manning had your legs at those times, they're gone. Stop trying to do them to your demise. And I thought Lamar Jackson did that to his demise yesterday. I know we talked about it all year. You did a great job, but right here, let's go. Go get a first down. Don't try to wait on these big plays, trying to sit in the pocket and scramble. That's where they lost the game. You know, Lamar Jackson in the Baltimore Ravens, down +10. They're like 0-28. Since 2013, you can't come back +10. You put up 7 points. Sherm, you talked about it when we talked about an MVP. I didn't even like the way this started. You know what I mean? This game started. You got to be able to make plays in these games if you're going to be considered one of the greatest. And this was one of those games that Lamar could have taken a huge leap forward. A huge leap forward. And it was right there. And you put up 7 points. We could talk a lot about how they came out. How they came out of that game. Did y'all see in the pregame, right? Patrick was warming up. Patrick Mahomes warming up. Justin Tucker was over there. Travis Kelce, them went and got their stuff and moved their stuff, moved it. I was waiting on, hey, Justin Tucker, go get your guys and come back. I'm not saying fight, but let them know this is our house. This AFC Championship game is in Baltimore. You don't get to choose where you warm up here. You are in our house. They came to Baltimore house and took it. That's my issue. I said to my guys yesterday on the set, I said, man, it's like somebody coming to your house telling you where your pots and pans are. Yeah. Are you joking? They came and took it. They were not ready to meet the intensity of the Kansas City Chiefs early on in that game. They looked just like we were talking about, like they were going to walk through this game. There was a championship football team, and they came to prove to everybody who they were, and they did. I thought Baltimore would, I knew the defense would hold him up, but I knew you would not stop him. But 17 points by that defense, by defense holding you to 17 points, that's all Lamar should have needed to win this football game, and he did not.
Are you saying that Lamar in the second half was trying to prove a point to a fault?
To a fault, no doubt, no doubt. And Sherm even alluded to it because he was right. I was going right there. I kept saying, get out and run. Let me tell you something. That second game, with Lamar Jackson, what we've talked about, passing and decision-making. Did you see the decisions Brock Purdy made in that second game? He gave you 1 hit, 2 hits. I'm out of here. I got to go. This pocket is closing. I didn't wait on it, and he ran and got crucial first downs with his legs.
He ran for 21, 10, and 21 down the stretch. Took the game over with his legs.
With his legs, not just his legs, his decision-making also on when to go. And that's where Lamar lost his game. I needed him to be able to make better decisions and go. And he could have put some points on the board, and they did not.
All right, Richard Sherman, it's my turn. You beat me out of 3 dinners on this game, 2 on the outcome of the game, and 1 on Pacheco. I said he wouldn't run for more than 50 yards. I will say I took the bet that you jumped on because I wasn't even sure Pacheco could play because they said his toe was so bad he was very iffy. So I thought, well, at least he'll split carries with Edwards-Helaire. And not only did he not split carries, Edwards-Helaire had 1 carry the whole game, but Pacheco goes for 12 on his first carry. Well, I'm up against it after that. But guess what happened after that? He goes 23 more times for a grand total of 56 yards the rest of the way. So you were a little lucky that you barely got over the total on that one. But I give it to you. You still owe me 1 dinner for the season overall, but you got me yesterday 3 times.
You stopped paying attention, Skip, and we talked about this earlier in the year. There was a stretch in there. You made multiple dinner bets about the Dallas Cowboys winning 2 or 3.
You think there's always a dinner bet on every game, but it's if you have to call it, you have to take it.
Don't worry.
You owe me 1 dinner for the season, but that's okay.
We'll pull up.
Back to
you
this
actually
game.
owe me 2 dinners, but it's a story for a different day.
That is revisionist history. That is complete delusion, but it's okay. Now, back to this game. It tore me apart to have to sit and watch this happen. Travis Kelce is still Travis Kelce. And clearly, he's everything to Patrick Mahomes, especially in a game of this magnitude. That defense was #1 for a reason. It was very well coached. It was incredibly well schemed.